What is going on, guys? In today's video we're going to be showcasing the Fossil Adamancipator deck profile. This is a really fun deck profile, and it's more competitive than the Fossil Invoke that I made in the last video. So without further ado, let's get into it. So it's 40 card main deck, 15 card extract. So first card we're going to run is 2 block dragon. A lot of people do run 3, and I can understand exactly why, because with the Adamancipator stuff, milling the top of cards of your deck enables special with a rock monster when you mill. I can understand why you'd want to do this, but at the minute I'm only running 2. I can show you what to take out if you do want to run the third one, but this one basically, what it does is when it's sent to the graveyard, so if you link it away or do anything with it, you can search monsters up to level 8 in rock. So you can search like doki, you can search the level 2 doki, your level 2 Adamancipators, and then a level 4 of your rock monsters. So you can search all that and get that in your hand to generate a lot of hand plus or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much all I use it for. It's a level 8. I mean, you can go into some rank 8 plays. I don't run the rank 8s in this deck profile, but yeah, I mean, it's just one of the best cards. It's just so good to use. Yeah, pretty much. Next, I'm running 3 of the new Weathering Soldier. And what this card does is a level 4 rock. A lot of people only run like 1 of it, because if you send it to the graveyard, you can search a Fossil Fusion from your deck if you send it to the graveyard by a card effect. I mean, there is a new spell card that I'll show you that makes this card a lot better, and that is the Miracle Rapture that came out with the new cards. Other than that, it's just a 2000 beat stick. A lot of people only run, like I said, run 1 of this and 2 Nibiru or 3 Nibiru, and you can take 1 out for another block dragon. It's up to you. Just at the minute I'm running the 4 because I just like the card pretty much. The next card I'm running is 2 Fossil Paleo or Fossil Dino Paleo. And what this card is, it's probably the oldest fossil card that we've had. We got it out in GX, and it's kind of just like a floodgate. It just stops your opponent from special summoning monsters, especially if you have him and he can special summon himself with doki and stuff. So just kind of later game, as in like when you've already your board made up, you can just have this guy out and then stop your opponent from doing stuff. If like that with Goki, if you're kind of stuck, you can always use Doki's effect to special summon him in the face on defense, and then when he's flipped face up, he gets to destroy all specials and monsters on the field, which is pretty nice. Other than that, it's again a level 4 rock. The next we're running is Adamancipator Analyzer. So basically all the Adamancipator cards have kind of the similar effect the tuners do anyway, and what this one does is you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and then you can special summon 1 level 4 lower non-tuner rock monster from those excavated cards, and then put the rest of them on the bottom of your deck. So he has his own kind of special summon effect if your opponent throws a monster, and you can special, if your opponent throws a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So that's pretty much his effect. His main play is to summon out Dragae, which is there. We'll go into that now in a sec. But the Emancipators are just a really good engine. I don't currently own the most expensive one. I can't remember what it is. It's like the red one. But yeah, I definitely recommend getting the other 3. You can get rid of a few Fossil Warrior, or what's it called, Withering Fossil, whatever guy it is, for those. But yeah, the next one has Adamancipator Seeker, and the other one just has the same level and same basic effect as this one. If you control another Adamancipator monster, you can special this card from your hand, and then during the main phase you can excavate the top 5 cards and special summon a level 4 lower rock monster, and then put the rest in the bottom of the grave or bottom of your deck. So you can go into the 2 level 6 synchros with this, which is really nice. Next we're running 2 of the Dragae, 2 of the Leononite, and 2 of the Raptite. So they pretty much have the same effect as well. If its card is special summoned by the effect of an Adamancipator card, you get to draw a card. This one is you get to place an Adamancipator card from your hand or graveyard to the top of the deck, and this one is you can place a rock monster from your graveyard to the top of the deck. So they pretty much have the same sort of thing. They each have, if their counterpart synchro monsters are in the graveyard, you can return it to the extra deck and place this card on the top of the deck. So just to recycle, that's why we only have to run 1 of each of the synchro monsters in the extra deck. They're all level 4, so you can go into a lot of level 4 Xyz plays, which is really fun. Other than that, yeah, you're just going into the synchros. The next card we have is 3 of the oldie bugoli Korkamiru Guardian. So basically he's just kind of like an effect negation on the field. So when he's summoned, just say from an Adamancipator effect, you have an extra negate there. Just if your opponent activates a monster effect, you get to tribute him and then get rid of him. But the only problem is the clause of having to have a rock monster in your graveyard. I mean, with things like Block Dragon, it's not too hard to make sure to have a rock in your hand just to reveal it. But other than that, it is probably one of the best Korkamiru rock monsters as of now. There is other ones like Overload and Chain, is it? And they just stop like monsters. They stop other things, traps and spells and stuff. And there's a new one coming out, Supplier. I also want to talk about another new card that's coming out in the next set, Rise of the Duelist, which is Nemesis Keystone, and he's going to be a really good card to this, as well as the Adamancipator secret rare spell that's coming out as well. But we'll talk about them when they come out, and I'll update the deck profile. So this one is Madolche Petting Scissor, and what this card is, if you control no monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. So that's pretty much its only effect. It's an earth monster. The only thing with Fossil Fusion is you banish stuff from the graveyard, so you will have an empty graveyard, so it's not always like dead or whatever. Other than that, it's just a level 4 earth monster. And the last monster we have is 3 Doki. It's just a really important card in the deck, just to kind of can fill up your graveyard as well as special summon, search out the stuff you need. A lot of the time, like, you need stuff in your graveyard to use with Fossil Fusion. And Doki, basically what you can do is discard a rock monster and then special summon a rock monster with the same level, an attribute as that monster in face-up attack position or face-down defense position. Pretty much. I mean, it's just summon him, discard a card, let's say like Withering Soldier, and then you can search out your Fossil Fusion and then special summon a level 4 like Korkamiru Guardian or the Adamancipator Analyzer or something like that, you know. It's very, very easy and very, very cool to get off some of those combos and stuff. The next card is 3 Fossil Fusion. This card just looks amazing, and it's so nice to finally have it. I remember as a kid always wanting like the Fossil Fusion from Jim Crocodile Cook in the GX. But basically what this card does is a fusion summons a Fossil Fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed in either player's graveyard. So you don't need to use your opponent's graveyard. Just if you do, you get an access to an extra half of the extra deck, if that makes sense. But yeah, other than that, now if a Fossil Fusion monster is sent to the graveyard or gets destroyed, you can just add this card back to your hand. That's pretty much all he does, is a bit of reoccurrence, which is kind of cool. The next card we have is Time Stream, another new card. I was thinking of running this to 1, but I mean, it's fine. I mean, one of the fusion monsters search it, so that's kind of cool. But other than that, it basically what you do is the Fossil Fusion monsters work in like a 4, 6, 8 sort of thing. So if you summon one of the level 4s, you can activate Time Stream and then special summon a level 6, and then the same goes for level 6 to a level 8. The only other thing this card does is if this is in the graveyard and the level 4, let's say, is in the graveyard, you can banish this and the level 4 and then special summon the level 6 for free. So that's kind of cool. It's like an extra Monster Reborn sort of effect. The next card we have is Miracle Rapture. Like I said, this one is actually going to be like as later as it goes. This is kind of works for any rock deck. So basically, it's like a fossil or a foolish burial for rock monsters. So send a level 4 rock monster from your deck to the graveyard, and then if Fossil Fusion to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. So like that, you can search out things like Withering Soldier to get your Fossil Fusion. I'm trying to think what else works well in the graveyard. I'm not sure. There's other stuff, but it's nice to have another, like, the fact that you need stuff in the graveyard, you can send different things just to fill up your graveyard like that, like what you need. And it will probably work in the future if anything else that works well in the graveyard, you know. The next card we have is Adamancipator Signs. So when the new spell card comes out as well, that's probably, you're going to have to drop this one down and add more of the other one. But this one is basically a monster reborn again for rock monsters. Target a rock monster to give it a special in defense position, and then if you special summon an Adamancipator monster, you can take a level 4 or lower rock monster in your deck and place on the top of your deck. So it's kind of cool as that extra bit. Adamancipator Signs, it's a good card. And lastly, because like I said, we want to fill up a graveyard, we use Hand Destruction just as a search stuff. I don't run any hand traps, and I don't run any like traps or whatever. This just seems to be very, very quick. It seems to be getting like your big boss monsters out into the field as quick as possible. I'd mainly like the best possible field is like Skull King and Dragae, and it's kind of easily enough done if you're played properly, if you go on second, you know, so it is pretty good. So now we'll get into the extra deck. So first off, we have one of my favorite cards, always was, is Fossil Warrior Skull King. This card is amazing. So basically what it requires is a rock monster and a level 7 or higher monster. So you can use this with Block Dragon, and this is how you special summon it on the first turn, let's say, if you needed to. But it must be special summoned with Fossil Fusion. It can make a second attack during each battle phase, and if it attacks, inflicts piercing damage, a defense position monster. It has a quick effect during your opponent's turn that you discard a card, target one monster in the graveyard, and special summon as your side of the field. So that can be detrimental to an opponent's combo, and it's a quick effect. Like if they want to do, I don't know, the only thing that came to mind was Burn the Abyss, but like that, if something they need in the graveyard, they need it for the next turn, maybe even Blue Eyes or something, you can just get that to your field, and your opponent can't do anything about it, which is really cool. The next card we have is Fossil Dragon Skullgios. So this one is 3500 attack beat stick, and it requires a level 7 higher monster in your opponent's graveyard. So like I said, with Fossil Fusion, and depending on your opponent, you change your extra deck. So if you have to rely on your own monsters, this is all you can summon, but if you have your opponent level 7, you get to summon Skull Dragon Skullgios. And what he can do is inflict piercing damage as well. He can also change the attack and defense of all monsters on the field except for himself, of course. And he can inflict double the battle damage, so he's kind of like a Chaos Max card. But he's really cool. They're both level 8s. The next I'm missing is Fossil Warrior Skull Knight, I think his name is. Basically what he does is if he's in the graveyard, you can banish him and destroy a card your opponent controls. But other than that, then I have a Fossil Warrior Skullbone. He was the level 6, which you use Time Stream for. So this one must first be special from Fossil Fusion. It can make 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase, and if he's in your graveyard, you can banish him and search out that Time Stream that I was talking about earlier. So he's really, really handy as well. Being level 4 means you can go into a lot more rank 4s again. Then we have Fossil Dragon Skullgar, and this one is pretty much the exact same, except for he inflicts piercing damage except for attacking twice, and then if he's in the graveyard, you get to tribute him, or I get to banish him and search out a Fossil Fusion. So basically what you can do is, if he's destroyed, he's sent to the graveyard, you get your Fossil Fusion back, and then you can banish him and get another Fossil Fusion. So it's deck thinning as well, which is really cool. Next we have one of the MVPs, which is Adamancipator Risen Dragae. And what he can do is he kind of has a Brionic effect where you can look at the top 5 cards in your deck, and if depending on how many rock monsters, you can bounce that many cards your opponent controls back to their hand, which is kind of cool. If your opponent activates a spell or trap card while a water monster in your graveyard, quick effect, you can negate the activation if you do destroy it. So that's kind of cool as well. So it's just a really, really powerful card. Then we have one Adamancipator Risen Leonite. So this one is during the main phase, again, excavate the top 5 cards. And if you do, add an Emancipator card from your thing, so you can search out, you can get the spells as well, which is kind of cool. If he has a fire monster in the graveyard, you can target a rock monster and special summon it, which is kind of cool. And then we have Raptite, which is the last one. And this one can excavate the top 5 cards and then special summon one of the excavated rock monsters in defense position. And then if a wind monster is in the graveyard, you can target one card in your opponent's graveyard, banish it. So it's kind of cool again. You're really destroying the opponent's graveyard, and anything like that, any deck that relies on the graveyard is kind of beaten. That's it for the Synchro monsters. Next, I'm running Gemini Pearl, but I have a Galleon Granite, and I couldn't wait for it to come in, so I just wanted to do deck profile without it. But this is essentially Galleon Granite. So what this is, 2 level 4 monsters, and you discard or remove a material, and then you can search any rock monster in your deck, which is really cool. Abyss Dweller, just to stop your opponents from using the graveyard again. Then we have Boral Sword Dragon for OTKs, because you're very easily able to flood the board. I've noticed in a lot of replays, I was just able to go Emancipator, instead of going for graveyard. Fossil Fusion for a level 4 or whatever. And you can just keep going, it's kind of cool, especially because you can use your graveyard. Nightmare Unicorn for the same reason, of bouncing cards. Perliplan Verte Anaconda, just for Fossil Fusion. Phoenix for back row, and Mrs. Radiant just to add stuff back. So hope you liked the video, guys. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and good luck.